بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Now if I reduce the size of this, I could allow you, or you will have a chance to access the English. What do you think? So here in this page, Allah Azza wa Jal talking about the killing of a mu'min, a believer. And he made this statement that there's no way a believer can kill another believer unless it's by mistake. If somebody is hunting or somebody driving, probably, something jumped in front of him and he turned right, turned left, he killed somebody by mistake. And whoever killed by mistake, he has to compensate. Now, probably, you hear about people died by, car accidents and crash and or giving the wrong drug, or somebody was for some reason hit somebody, didn't mean to kill him, but he died. Like in the Quran, Allah said about Musa والسلام, when he was sorting the fight between the Egyptian and the Jewish guy, Allah said, فَوَكَزَهُ Musa. فَوَكَزَهُ, like with his elbow, or he pushed him. But Musa, being very strong, it's like me and Bruno hit me. I would be dead in no time. So the guy died. So whoever killed a person by mistake, the person has a value. To his people has a value, to the community has a value, to his family, to his children, and there's expectation from him. When I was young, they used to joke in Syria, say, "Oh, don't do this, you might kill him." Then he will be a boy of 10 years. His family will claim he's supporting the whole family. It's not, but they will come, "Oh, he was saving 10 families." But anyway, you're not allowed even to be careless. And carelessness in Islam, you have to pay for that. And this is why Allah Azza wa Jalla says straight away, if anybody kills any believers by mistake, he will have to free a slave. Now, freeing a slave, our teachers say, like, you took a life away from existence. You can't bring a life. You can't create a man to replace him. But at least you can bring a half man, somebody who's a slave, limited. He can't go, he can't come, he can't have a business, he can't marry, or he can't act as a free man. But when you free a slave, you bring a person to life who is able to replace partially that guy who you killed by mistake. And the second one is to give compensation to his family. Now, if that applied in Britain, it will solve a lot of problems, because many people lose a loved one and they mourn all their life. Oh, you are okay, you will come out of prison, but we will be without mom, without dad, or life. But Islam, like Allah Azza wa Jalla, make things much easier for them and much easy tablets to swallow. That's okay, you lost your loved one, but here you are. We freed a slave, which you will be rewarded for that. That's a compensation. But we're giving you also money as a compensation. The money usually 100 camel. Where it came from originally? Who started it?
Yeah, because they call that if you kill Prophet, I give you 100 camels. You know that Prophet was immigrating to Medina. He said 100
But
camels.
where it came from before that? You are right. Surah, the Qurayshis.
Grandfather of Prophet
That's right. That's
Yeah.
correct. When Abu Talib didn't have, Abdul Muttalib didn't have children, he made a promise if Allah
10,
gives him
10
10 sons, he will slaughter the last one. And when Abdullah was born, he loved him. And he's obviously he didn't know he's going to be the father of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he loved him, and he kept throwing the draw. I will give 10 camels if my son's name doesn't come up, and Abdullah came up. Okay, I'll give 20 camels for the sake of Allah, and Abdullah's name came, and kept coming until he said, I will give 100 camel to free my son from being slaughtered, to fulfill the promise, and didn't come. So from that time, they took it as the value of a person, 100 camel. Now, the value of a person, 100 camel, but they also took it to gold as well, and they have to give, I think, 1,200 ounces of gold, or uqiyah of gold. But if you time, the thing is that the monetary system I was talking about in the Friday prayer, the economy in Islam and the monetary system and how much money should be in the community is not measured by banknotes. It's measured by gold or animals or states. Or so the 100 camel or 1,200 ounces of gold. The ounces of gold are $4,000 today. So how many dollars will be?
3.5 kg. 3.5 kg gold.
3.5 kg.
Yeah. 1,200
kilograms
would be 3.5 kg roughly.
But how much money? Time 1,200 by 4,000. 48, and you have
500,000.
Probably 5 million. You have 48 plus
5 million.
Plus how many zeros here? Yeah, 4.8 million, which is reasonable in this money, in this time. So at least his family will be a bit at ease. Now, Imam Sha'ari was giving an example, which is really true. If somebody gets killed, dies, and we all be upset, and your upset depends how close you are to the dead person and how much you are benefiting from him. So if he dies, if he gets killed by mistake, and you bring his children and say, you know, 500,000 to you, 500,000 to you, 1,000,000 to you, 100,000 to you, 200,000 to you, all the family will be much at ease. That would be okay, you know. Oh, I wish Allah bless him, and oh, thank you because I got some money. So in a way, Allah deal with our psychology. Allah knows that the loss is a loss, but that make it easier. That the compensation, because the diya only exists in Islam, it doesn't exist in the Western world, and I don't know, the Eastern world. But here, وَدِيَةٌ مُسَلَّمَةٌ إِلَى أَهْلِهِ, that's a lot, because he freed the slave and he gave the money, because not the slave could be worth also so much money. But if he hasn't got the money, then the whole community have to gather the money, starting with his relatives, then the distant relatives, then distant relatives, then the whole community. Now that means that the whole community will be keen to control speed on the road, reckless driving, careless doctor or careless engineer. The whole building dropped, so you have to scrutinize every job because we're paying, all of us. So we have to tell, oh, don't do this or don't do that, and we start becoming the community. I'm going to pay. If you have you got 5 million? No, so I have to pay. So the whole community will be keen to control the behavior of the community, so they won't carelessly kill. فتحرير رقبة ودية مسلمة إلى أهله إلا أن يصدقوا. I mean, if they are so super rich and things, they might say, no, we don't want money and save him and his family or the community the money. But might or might not happen. It's not something you guarantee. I was talking to one of my children, that's um, Rabia bint another. She hit another servant of hers and she broke her teeth. So her family wanted the qisas, is a tooth for a tooth and an injury for injury. So they came to Prophet Muhammad and her son Usama ibn Nadr, um, he was too much for him that his sister gets chopped, her teeth chopped, and that obviously the front of your teeth will be beauty problem and things. So he came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. They refused to take the diya and they insisted on a tooth for a tooth. So he came and he said, by the one who sent you the truth, والذي بعثك بالحق لا تكسر ثنية الربيع. That the thaniya, the tooth of Rabi'a, his sister, will not be broken. And Muhammad said to him, it's in the book of Allah. وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. You can't argue with the qisas. So he repeated, by Allah, the one who sent you with the truth, the tooth of Rabi'a will not be broken. And the people accepted the forgiveness. They didn't even take money. So the Prophet ﷺ made that statement that there's some people, if they ask Allah Azza wa Jal with, with bitterness, Allah will respond to them. So Allah Azza wa Jal responded to him that, okay, don't worry, we will not let your sister lose her teeth. And the people, her family said, oh, we'll forgive him, don't worry about it. So this is why, if you really struggle, talk to, oh, I don't want to lose my driving license. I don't want to lose this. And if you really have, something with Allah Azza wa Jalla, you have a status there, Allah will pass it for you. Will blind the people. Yes.
So then what would the ruling be if you killed by mistake a non-believer?
Hold on, coming. So if you give إلا يصدقوا, but if he is from a non-believer, adu, enemy to you, but he is a believer. He lives in there, but he's a believer in hiding. He doesn't want to announce it. He's a believer, but in hiding. But he lives with the enemy. So what are you going to give the enemy more money to fight you? So if he gets somebody who is from your enemy, from your enemy, and the one who killed is a believer. So he killed somebody from the enemy. So you don't give them the money. You free a slave who is a believer. So you don't give them money, the diya, but you slave a believer slave. So you give somebody life, but he is a believer. If you free unbeliever slave, you have another enemy added to your enemy, so he wouldn't. And if there is a treaty between you and that country, there's a treaty, there's diplomatic relationship, you're not in fight with them, you gave them his family diya. So he is living, he's in a non-Muslim country, and one of your people, the believers in your country, killed him, you have to give them diya. I know when I was in Riyadh in Saudi, they were somebody from Saudi killed an Australian. So the government, the court ruled, and they gave his family at that time $750,000 at that time, that back in 1980. So if you have a treaty between you and them, you give his family diya, and you free وتحرير رقبة مؤمنة. So Allah Azza wa Jal still insists that you free a slave as a replacement to the life you took away. It's not equal, but at least half a life or something. You freed somebody who was limited with the movement and the business and dealing, whatever. So you freed a person, gave him some freedom as you took away the life of a man. If you don't have money to free a slave, you have to fast 2 months continuously. You can't say, oh, I'm fasting, I'll skip Friday. You can't. I'll skip Sunday. You can't. It has to be continuous. And subhanAllah, we have something called therapeutic community in psychiatry. When we have difficult patients and difficult, especially the personality problems, we put them in a therapeutic community for 3 months continuously until their behavior genuinely change, until they forget all this recklessness and lack of respect or bizarre behavior or aggressive behavior. So you put this guy in this 2 month continuous fast, so he continuously every day remember his carelessness. He remembers driving without due attention. He remembers not revising his medical books. He remembers not to revise his, if he's flying, if he's a pilot, then he will remember, yeah, I should have checked. There's a petrol in the in the plane. I don't know what's in your. You might have. I went to see a cockpit engineer, the flying engineer, when I was working in Riyadh, and I took with me the ECG machine at chest pain, and I did the ECG in the cockpit, and he had heart attack. Yeah, he had heart attack, and we want to take him to hospital, and we couldn't find the driver to the ambulance, so I drove the ambulance. So the patient was with me in the ambulance, and I drove the ambulance. It was nice because we, and everybody, and you cross the red lines. I decided in my life from the airport in Riyadh to the central hospital, and then I went to the car to drive back, and the engine wouldn't work. The engine will not work. So what happened that this guy, to take himself off work for no reason, he put sugar in the engine. So with the petrol, by the time I reached the hospital, the whole engine gone. So they said this is a trick. Sometimes they play to not to work or whatever. But anyway, you have to be careful. I mean, this guy would have, according to Islam, he partially, because probably if this guy died, he could be partially blamed, because he deliberately did this and he disappeared. But you have to fast for 2 continuous months. The similar fasting when somebody make his wife, he called her like his mother. Muzahara it's called in. So من قبل أن يتماسى عليه صيام شهرين متتابعين من قبل أن يتماسى. Before he touches hair, he has to fast for 2 continuous months, because when the crime or the mistake is too big to swallow, you need to change the personality. He's so much careless, and he's not paying attention. He's not he want to make his wife like she's neither a wife nor divorced nor this. No, you can't do that. So Islam has a real punishment for that he has to fast for 2 continuous months. فمن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين توبة من الله. 2 months توبة من الله. Now tawbah, forgiveness from Allah Azza wa Jal, which will not be achieved until he fasts the 2 months. So it's not something probably reduce it. And there's a story in one of the Khulafa in Egypt, and he made, I think it was Muzahara or something else, and there is either you free a slave, or you fast 60 days, or you feed 60 people. And the scholar, he decided he should fast.
So he was rich.
Yeah, he was rich. He would easily free 60 slaves. He would easily feed 600 people. And they asked him when he came out, why you said only fasting? He said what he said.
I think it was
that he was rich.
Amir of the city.
Yeah,
Rich.
Yeah, he's the Khalifa of that city. So تحرير الرقبة شهرين متتابعين توبة من Allah to achieve the tawbah. وكان الله عليما حكيما. So you cannot achieve the tawbah unless Allah Azza wa Jal permitted that. It's like the three who didn't go with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Tabuk. Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran when He pardoned them, He said, ثم تاب عليهم ليتوبوا. He agreed to give them tawbah, so they will be asked for it and granted. So that has to be that Allah agreed, they made the tawbah, Allah accepted the tawbah. He's talking here about a story linked to this person called Muqayyas ibn Juthama al-Kinani. He had a brother called Hisham, and Hisham was killed. So the Prophet ﷺ sent Muqayyas to Bani Fahr, the tribe who killed his brother, to collect the diya. So, during the session, Jazakallah khair. So, yeah, Jazakallah khair. So he sent them to take the diya, and he went there, and they gave him the diya. He went there with a person from the Medina, and this shaitan came to his mind and said, you've got the money, you can kill, and he can kill somebody instead of the killer, because they didn't give him they didn't know who was the killer, so they gave the diya as a community. So he killed the guy with him. He's from Bani Fahr, and he went to the Prophet ﷺ, and he told him, and the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him to ask Allah. He said, I made a mistake, ask Allah to forgive me. He said, no, may Allah not forgive you. So he left Islam and went to Mecca, ran away from the Muslim city. And when the Prophet ﷺ conquered Mecca, he was holding with the robe of Kaaba. So he did kill a person who was not the killer, took the money and lied. So the Prophet ﷺ said, you kill him. There's no way he's going to be doing all these three things and escape. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is Alim and Hakim. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا. He knows what's going on, and He's the most wise. He knows how to deal with it. So this is the case when He kills somebody who's a believer. So originally a believer no way a believer can kill another believer, unless it's by mistake. But by mistake, the penalty is high. It's really sorting out the community to discipline themselves. Go and stop the drinking driving. Go and stop driving without care and attention. Go and stop people driving without license, without MOT, without perfect car. It's not working. I mean, they have to have so many police on the road. They have to have a lot of these cameras, and they have to have all sort of stop and check and things. And while Islam will be like, now when they said if you drive on the motorway at the speed above you pay 5% of your income a year. Is it the sister, she paid 5%, Talha? For quote the fasting, driving fast on the motorway.
No, she pays a percentage.
Yeah, but it was around £5,000. They looked into her
salary,
income, a year. So it could be from me, probably have £5 or something. That's the second, the third or fourth scenario here. وَمَنْ يَقْتُلُ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا. If he kills a believer deliberately, then فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ. He will go to Jahannam, the hellfire, خَالِدًا فِيهَا. خَالِدًا فِيهَا, it's something I learned in you, actually. What's خَالِدًا فِيهَا means? Yeah, this is what we used to know, to think. But what is it? Is it forever? I'll show you things in the Quran. Mind you, I heard from a lot of scholars, they all have the same, like, abadan means khalidan fiha, means forever. Khalidina fiha abadan, khalidina fiha abadan, khalidina fiha abadan for eternal, for eternity. خالدين فيها أبدا خالدين فيها أبدا خالدين فيها أبدا فيها أبدا فيها أبدا خالدين. Our ayah is خالدين فيها only. Let's just say take away the أبدا in our search. Yeah. خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا من جنة. خالدين فيها حسنة مستقرا. خالدين فيها أبدا about جنة. خالدين فيها أي يخفف عنهم العذاب. خالدين فيها is no أبدا. You see, there's no أبدا. And Sha'rawi, Imam Sha'rawi, subhanAllah, is saying that the Quran doesn't drop a word for nothing, unless it is important. So for some people, they will go to hellfire, they will be there for a long time, but not eternity, because he took it out. So here, whoever kills deliberately, he will be in hellfire for a long time, but not eternity. There's another one, خالدين فيها ما دامت السماوات والأرض. خالدين فيها while the heavens and earth are there. So when they are removed, they will come out of hell. So this is another way to actually say that yes, it is actually a limited time. So yes, they killed. I was talking about this, funnily enough, long time ago when I was in Lincoln. And the girl there, she said, oh, could be a millionaire. I said, yeah, could be a millionaire. Why to do such a sin? So if the risk is a millionaire, so take it as too much to suffer. A millionaire in hellfire, not an hour should be. So Khalidina fiha, because you could say that will clash with another ayah. What's the other ayah to clash with the other ayah? Yeah, thank you. إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به. Now Amr ibn Ubaid, he was teaching in a class, and one of the top scholars, and he read the ayah that Khalidina fiha, and he said, I saw in my dream that I'm talking to Allah Azza wa Jal, Day of Judgment, and I said, I gave fatwa that if you kill somebody, you will go to Jahannam forever. And one of his students, Qais ibn Anas, he said, if I was with you talking to Allah Azza wa Jal, I will mention that ayah. Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi. Allah doesn't forgive you associate a partner with him. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. While he will forgive whatever less than that to whoever he wishes. So the way out would support the meaning that Khalidina fiha is not eternal. Yeah, it's not eternal because of this ayah. No abadan, and the other ayah, in Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi. So if he was a believer and he killed deliberately, still there's a way out. Now, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was talking in his class, teaching, and the guy came to him and he said, if somebody kills somebody, Has he got a tawbah? Will Allah forgive him? He says, no, there's no way. He's going to hellfire. There's no way out of that and things. So he went. And before he finished his class, another guy walked in and he said, if somebody killed somebody, is there a tawbah for him? Could he be forgiven? He said, oh, yes, definitely. And he went. And his student became a bit muddled. How is it that the first one you said, no, there's no tawbah for him, he's going to hellfire, and the second one you said, there is tawbah? Anybody heard the story before? He knows the answer? No? I'll give you a pen. No. He said the first one, he came with red eyes and anger in his face, and he just want to go and kill. But before he goes and kill, he want to check, can he kill and get forgiven? And he saw that this guy is going to kill. So he told them, there's no tawbah. There's no tawbah. And he went. He said, the second guy have killed already. And he feel really ashamed, and he's sad, and he's unhappy, and he's walking, dragging. And he said, don't make him despair from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. Yes, there is tawbah, and you can ask. And that's in keeping with the other hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about the guy who killed 99. Yeah, he killed 99. He came to a worshipper. He said, is there a tawbah? He said, no. He said, okay, I'll make it 100. And he killed them. Then he went to somebody who have knowledge. And he said, why not? Well, you need to change your city. You need to change your friends. You need to do this and this and this. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا ضربتم في سبيل الله فتبينوا. O you who believe, if you ضربتم here, like whatever you want to do, you hit the earth. And sometimes they say in English, hit the road. He's going really on a serious job, serious journey, serious. Or you are a farmer, you hit the land and you sow the seed and things. So the rabtum is really important here, that you are genuine, you're going to travel, you're going to fight for the sake of Allah, or you're going to do certain important job. إذا ضربتم في سبيل الله, for the sake of Allah. Be careful. Don't jump into conclusion. فتبينوا ولا تقولوا لمن ألقى إليكم السلام لست مؤمنا. Now what happened now? There were a guy called عامر الأشجعي ومحلم الليثي. Now عامر الأشجعي was sent with the Prophet ﷺ, with Muhallam al-Laythi on a mission, and he saw a guy. He came to him and said, "Assalamu alaikum." But it happened that the guy who said "Assalamu alaikum," he killed his brother, the brother of Muhallam. So he thought, oh, it's a chance to kill him, and he killed him. And then he went back and said to the Prophet that, no, he wasn't Mu'min, he wasn't Muslim, he just pretended to be, to escape death. So obviously Allah Azza wa Jal sent Jibreel straight away. No, that wasn't the case. That guy was a believer. And what's expected from you is to check, is he a Muslim or not? If you are really in doubt, you don't have to kill people just because they said salam or not said salam. If they didn't say salam, you don't kill them unless they're fighting you. So he asked Allah, the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him to ask Allah to forgive him. He said, may Allah not forgive you. You should have checked. You jumped into conclusion, and it was for a hidden agenda. For another reason you killed him, not because he was a kafir, but because you have a revenge to take from him, and he took your revenge. So after 1 week he died, and they buried him, but the earth threw him out, didn't take him. So they came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and they said, look, really he was bad guy. He wasn't a believer. He wasn't a believer because the earth didn't accept him. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said no, because if the earth threw him out because he wasn't a believer, they would have thrown out Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and Walid ibn al-Mughira, so it's not a rule. But here, like a lesson to the Sahaba, that look, he killed for a revenge. He didn't check. He wasn't keen to find out what's happening, and Allah knows that. Allah told His Prophet, and because he was lying and he was, fulfilling anger in himself, Allah, the Prophet didn't want to ask Allah to forgive him. So he said to him, Allah sent the ayah, don't say to whoever say salam to you, you are not Muslim. God could be half of them, because avoiding you harm. They might, when Daesh were messing around in the Middle East, they were killing randomly. They wouldn't accept. So they used to lie to them, and they killed people even they didn't believe they are Muslim, and they were. But they made a mess out of it. They didn't read the ayah. So you have to not to see that, because if he kills him, he might take his camel, take his horse, take his money. Oh, he didn't say he wasn't a Muslim. So the Prophet was dealing with, first you have to check. Secondly, you're not there to kill people just because they said salam or not said salam. They meant the salam or didn't mean the salam. If he's not fighting you, you're not supposed to fight him at all. And you did the killing because you want عرض الحياة الدنيا. عرض الحياة الدنيا, what's this dunya show you? In Syria they say عرض مسرحي. They show you a play on theater, because 2 hours and finished and you go. The عرض finished. So the عرض of this dunya finishes, either you lose the house, you lose the car, you lose the job, or you die. So the عرض, whatever dunya gives you is limited, while the akhirah, Allah Azza wa Jal has more to give. فَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَغَانِمُ كَثِيرًا. When Allah Azza wa Jal banned the kafirin from going to Mecca, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ فَلَا يَقْرَبُوا الْمَسْجِدَ الْحَرَامَ بَعْدَ عَامِهِمْ هَذَا. That mushrikeen are impure. They should not come near the Masjid al-Haram after this year. And then straight away Allah followed it, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ عَيْلَةً فَسَوْفَ يُغْنِيكُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Because straight away come to your mind, oh, if they don't come to Mecca, we'll lose all the trade, we'll lose all the sale, we have a lot of stuff we bought to sell the Hajjaj and things, where will we go with it? Because this will come to your mind. Allah straight away said, don't worry, Allah will give you a replacement. And the same He did here. فَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَغَانِمُ كَثِيرًا. Don't say that camel with this guy is again, because if you don't touch him, and for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla, don't worry, we'll give you more and more and more, because all within the grasp of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And then Allah reminded them, you were like this before. You didn't want people to kill you just because you didn't choose to say Assalamu alaikum. So this is, you were in the same situation. Would you have accepted that people kill you randomly? But Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you the gift of Islam, the gift of the belief. So again, He said, فَتَبَيَّنُوا here, check and be sure. And again here, reminded them again, فَتَبَيَّنُوا. Some people, this is one of the things they, about the beauty of the Quran, some read it, فَتَثَبَّتُوا. فَتَثَبَّتُوا. Now you can write it. You can write it فَتَثَبَّتُوا or فَتَبَيَّنُوا. When the Quran was written, straight away at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were no dots. And both right. Both right. تَثَبَّتُوا right and تَبَيَّنُوا right. So when Allah Azza wa Jal sent the Quran and there were no dots at all, don't worry, people will not be messing with the Quran. It will not be read wrongly. Like صِبْغَةُ Allah. Who could say, if you say صِبْغَةُ and this is L. Sibghatullah, this is the design of Allah Azza wa Jal, the law of Allah. Or you could say San'atullah. The same word in Arabic without the dots, still correct. Go both correct, San'atullah and Sibghatullah. And there's quite a lot like this in the Quran. So when it wasn't, there were no dots in it. Probably us now, even the Arab now, will not be able to read it. But for the Arab who have good grasp of the Arabic, they don't worry. They will not read it wrong. فليأتي ملكه من يشاء من أشاء could be this is S من أشاء, if you put the dot there, أو إما من أشاء أو من أساء. Both still carry the meaning, correct meaning in the ayah. So this is by the way. I mean, it's not part of the meaning. فتبينوا or فتثبتوا is the same. Make sure he is actually fighting you, he is your enemy, and take all your personal matters out. Nothing to do with you as a person. If you have a personal, like, old standing problem, it shouldn't come at all to the equation. You should be really for dealing with them for the sake of Allah. And you all know the story of Osama bin Zayd, who killed the person who killed the 3 times the Muslims and was saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah when he was caught. And the 4th one, Osama killed him. And the Prophet ﷺ didn't accept that. He said, what about the 4th one was correct? What will you do with la ilaha illallah when it comes the day of judgment? You have a question.
So, how would you deal with a non-believer who may read that and say, so in Islam, depending on whether you're a believer or a non-believer, the punishment is different depending on who you kill, is a believer or a non-believer. And yet they have, imagine if they have a treaty with you, but they're a non-believer, and you still kill. That means, like, say, I don't know, someone in the UK, a Muslim killing a
Yes, there is
non-Muslim.
another ayah, it's in Surah Al-Ma'idah, we'll come to it later. وَلْيَحْكُمْ أَهْلُ الْإِنْجِيلِ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ. The people of Injil, Christians, they should rule according to what's in the Injil. وَلْيَحْكُمْ أَهْلُ التَّوْرَاةِ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ. The people, the Jewish people, the Israelis, should rule according to what's in the Torah. So when they tried to play a trick at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and a lady committed adultery, and they came, and in their book, in the Torah, should be stoned. And they came to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. They said, if you tell us to stone, we will say it's not in Torah. We are expected to apply Torah according to your Quran. And if we say, don't stone, we will go to Allah Azza wa Jalla, the day of judgment, will say, one of you prophet told us not to stone. So when he came, the Prophet ﷺ said, bring your Torah. Rule according to your Torah. Bring your Torah and read. And the story tells that they put their hand on the stone to hide the word stone. Then he asked to remove the hand, and they asked Ali ibn Abi Talib to read it, and he read. It was written in their Torah. So the scholars say, you deal with them according to their Torah and their Injil. When you come to a civil society and secular society, now you need to take the law of that country. You can't come and say, oh, I have to take life for life. If there's no death penalty, then it's not your job to insist on death penalty. So you act according to the law of the land. And when you came to Britain, you signed, you obey, accept the law of the law of the land. But subhanAllah, we are in Britain. I've been here for 43 years now, and I was never forced to drink alcohol or take pork or do anything haram. They don't force you to do the haram, even if they do it themselves. They eat pork, but they never force you to eat pork. They never force you to drink alcohol. But you can't force them to do the death penalty. Because these days, the death penalty, according to our scholars, the Muslim scholars, You need eyewitnesses, and the eyewitnesses should be udul. Udul, he never dropped a prayer, he never dropped zakah, he was always watching what he say, his behavior. And you can't search for them, you probably don't find. And in adultery, you need 4 eyewitnesses. So, when you come to applying even our own law in Muslim countries, you can't rely. You have to rely on eyewitnesses according to Islam, but you can't rely on mitigated circumstances. It happened, somebody passed, and it looked like that, because that's you're going to punish a lot of innocent people. But if you are in this is our teacher stage. If you are in this country, you abide by the law of this country.
And if you were non-Ahl al-Kitab and you were in a Muslim country and you killed that person, say a Hindu in a Muslim country,
the ruler of the country, he decide, like they did in Saudi when they killed the Australian, they decided to give him diya. They said there is no fight between us and Australia, and it's a treaty between us and Australia, so this ayah applied, and they gave him 750,000. That's a case I know.
Just to clarify, the rules are not different. They're the same. So if you kill a Muslim or a non-Muslim, they're the same. The only difference is if you're in a situation where you're in conflict with another country, then you don't give the money to the other country.
Yeah, like if you are in a dispute with Israel and you kill somebody by mistake from Israel, you don't give them your money to go and buy more weapons. So what you do, you free a Muslim slave, if there is any, and fast 2 continuous months. The idea is first to give somebody half-life or whatever to free a slave, but the second one is actually to discipline the one who killed by mistake. Even if he killed non-Muslim, you need to discipline him by fasting 2 months. It's long enough to take the bad habit. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, he came and told Bilal ibn Rabah, he was black, Yabna al-Sawda. And the Prophet said, he said to him, the son of the black lady. Prophet said to him, إِنَّكَ امْرُؤٌ فِيكَ جَاهِلِيَّةٌ. You have still some sort of ignorance in you. And Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, to get rid of this trait in his behavior, he insisted that he put his head on the floor and Bilal step on his head. By doing that, he made sure that the trait is gone. There's no defined punishment in the Islamic law, but he chose that I want to get rid of this jahiliyyah in me, the ignorance, the trait of racism. So imagine if you have applied this in Britain, how many British will be white putting their head on the floor and ask a Pakistani to. Obviously. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Any more questions?
What's the ruling if that killed person, what is satsu, he would be shahid or just
if there's a fight between
no, but just because
by mistake,
someone was walking, someone can accidentally kill that person.
Now the definition of shaheed in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, whoever fighting for the sake of Allah, get killed for the sake of Allah, fighting for the sake of Allah, he's shaheed. That's one type of shaheed. There's other shaheed, which whoever died of septicemia, high temperature and things, he's shaheed. Whoever died drowning, he's shaheed. Whoever died in a fire, he is a shaheed. Whoever, a lady delivering a baby and she died, she's shaheed. So he named the shaheed. But somebody killed by mistake, I don't think it's, do you know? I haven't heard that he's shaheed.
And that last question would be that Khabil and Qabil, yeah? Khabil killed Qabil. Yeah, was it like
Yeah, deliberately. Yeah, قال لأقتلن.
Yeah, what was the punishment of the?
He would be in hellfire for a while.
Yeah,
if he doesn't believe.
Not abadan, yeah? Okay.
No, according to the ayah, it's not abadan.
Yeah.
You see, this is جزاؤه جهنم خالدا فيها, but it's not abadan.
Okay.
And the other ayah, if he believe in La ilaha illallah, he will be chance that he will be, but he will spend time in hellfire. And the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, it's حلت شفاعتي لأهل الكبائر من أمتي. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, Muhammad, will intercede for us, those who committed the big sins, like qatl, like drinking, you know,